Hey there, I'm moving on, Michele, and this is episode number 19. What is stress? Welcome to the I Cut the Mustard show, where you'll learn how to stop stressing, stop stress eating, and start fitting into those skinny jeans. Because whether it's belly fat or bloating, stress stinks. But don't worry. You've got what it takes. You're sharp enough. You cut the mustard. Have I ever told you how much I just love a change? I love a challenge. I love having the opportunity to grow. And that's part of why I love this podcast. I love helping people too and talking to people and teaching. I just love being a coach. So today I want to announce another change. I know I just announced one yesterday, but I'm announcing another change. All right. I mentioned on episode 18 that I was talking to my hairdresser and I felt like an idiot. I just couldn't explain what I do. So I went on Facebook Lives. I decided to go on a Facebook Live every morning until I could figure out how to say it better. How can I explain what I do to other people that will help them understand so that I can be accessible and I can help more people? So I did that. I showed up every morning between 5 and 6:30 in my pajamas, and I shared what it is that I do and tried to explain it and give value to you. So from that, I learned so much, which I'm going to share here on the podcast, but I decided I'm not going to blow up all my friends on Facebook with Facebook Lives, and I love my podcast even more that I'm going to bring that here. So for the next year, I'm announcing this so that I'll stick to it. For the next year, I'm going to show up here every day and tell you what it is that I do, tell you how to stress less and stop stress eating so that you can fit back into those skinny jeans. And I want to share with you my journey along the way because I'm always growing. I'm not perfect at this, and I hope that we can learn together and discover the tools that you need and that I need in order to stop stressing and have a super fun time in our lives. So this change came about because of that Facebook Live challenge that I created for myself, but I was also reading a book by Russell Brunson. I'm trying to figure out how to do this business thing better because I want to help people, but my sales stuff stinks. I hate bothering people and I'm having trouble getting started. And there's so many mindset things going on, right? So his recommendation was to pick a platform, publish on it every single day for a whole year. And by the end of the year, you'll never have to worry about money again. So all right, Russell, here I am. I'm taking this challenge on, and a year from now, you guys are going to hear that I'm never having money problems ever again, all right? I hope so. We can stress less about that. Okay, I don't have money problems now, but anyways, the point is, let's get on with the real meat. What is stress? Yesterday, we talked about stress and that the answer is stress. So I just want to dive into that, give a quick recap of what I was talking about then, and then we're going to dive into exactly what is stress so that we know how to fix it, right? So if the answer is stress, what is it? We're going to do that next. But first, let's stop stressing so we can start fitting into our skinny jeans. Stress is the problem because stress slows digestion. And that means that whenever we eat, no matter what we're eating, it's not digesting well. And we put weight on or we're experiencing pain and digestive issues, right? So whether you're stress eating or not stress eating, no matter what you're eating, if you've got the perfect diet, if you're super stressed out, digestion stinks and you're going to gain weight, right? Or have pain. So that's because when we're in a stress state, it's a state of defense and protection. I think back to the good old days before we had vaccines, and here in the United States, we've had so much prosperity for the last several years. But back in the good old days, right, we had famine, we had war, we had pestilence or sickness, right? So we had famine, war, and sickness. Right now we're experiencing some of that sickness, right? It's coming back. So whenever we're stressed out, what happened with the coronavirus when we were stressed out? What's the first thing everybody did? They went to the grocery store, right? It's our body's natural defense. It's our state of defense and protection. When we're stressed out, we turn to food, because what do you need whenever there's famine, war, and sickness? You're afraid that you're not going to be able to eat, and there's not going to be enough food. It feels scarce. And so your body slows that digestion down for many reasons, one of which is to put some weight on so that you're going to be prepared for this stressful event that's coming. And then you're going to eat more for comfort. And food is going to feel comforting because your body, it's just your body's natural defense. All right. So it's a state of defense and protection. Digestion slows down. So no matter what you're eating, you're going to gain weight, or you won't be able to lose weight as easily. And your digestion's not going to be great, which is fine. It's all natural. This is just how the body works to protect us. So what is the solution? The solution would be the opposite of that. Stop stressing, right? Stop stressing so you can fit into those skinny jeans. So when you stop stressing and you calm down, your body says, oh, there's not famine or sickness. There's not a big danger coming my way. And I can just let my metabolism speed up because there's abundance around. My metabolism can be fast now. So now whenever you eat, you digest better. You have a faster metabolism, so you can use those foods that you're eating. So you just drop the weight and you become pain-free. It's that simple. So it sounds too easy and too simple to be true. And I'm working with a client right now, and she says, are you sure it could be stress, but are you sure it's stress? Is that really going to solve my problem? Because I'm having all these problems with food. But I said, you know what's causing all those problems with food? It's the stress. And I've told you before that I went on a plant-based diet. I was doing the diet as perfectly as I could get myself to do it, but I was still having problems. And I hear this all the time. I just talked to a friend, which hopefully I can interview here pretty soon and introduce you to, but she was eating all the right things. She was exercising. She was doing all the right things, but still couldn't lose weight, right? Because when stress is happening, our body's in this different state. But whenever we're calm, we get into that state of healing, that state of relaxation and healing, where the weight drops off and the pain stops. Okay, so this could be digestive pain. It could just be random pain, right? But we're talking mostly about digestion and weight loss, because that's what most of us are interested in, right? I got to constrain, or we're going to get too crazy here. All right, so that is why stress is the answer. That's why stress may be your answer, the answer to your problem. So if we know that stress is the answer to the problem, what do we do about that? So let's start off with talking about what is stress. And I got this definition off of good old Google. I just Googled it, but I really like it because I think it embodies everything that we need to talk about. So there was two definitions there. One of them was just talking about pressure or strain, like outside pressure. You're feeling stress on something. So this would be the good side, the light side, the happy side of stress whenever you're feeling pressure. Like, whenever you're building your muscles. So you get weights, and that puts pressure on your muscles, and you're able to build muscle that way. Or we've got gravity, right? Gravity's always pressing down on us. It's great pressure because it keeps us on the earth. That's awesome. And then it's also building our muscles. As we walk and move, we are strengthened. And I think of this talk one time that I heard about trees and the wind, and how the wind actually strengthens trees. And if you learn about your houseplants as well, they say you should have them where you can walk by them, or have a fan on them or something, because if they don't have any pressure, they're going to grow weak. Right? And when we don't use our muscles, they grow weak. We all understand this. So pressure is good. This kind of stress is good because it builds us and it helps us to become stronger. But where the definition that I want to focus on today of stress, the one that's causing us problems, is this. It's mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So let's break it down. There's a couple parts to that definition. So number one, it's mental in your head, mental or emotional strain or tension So you're feeling pressure, mental or emotional pressure inside, resulting from a very adverse or very demanding circumstances. So where's this definition I think is fabulous because it embodies what we all think stress is. And what I'm going to tell you today is that this definition is a little bit wrong. I think it's a little wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. But here's the thing. You've got thoughts in your head, you've got emotions in your body, and those thoughts are becoming too much for you, right? So there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of strain and tension going on because you've got thoughts going on in your head and you've got emotions that are all bottled up. So that is stress. Pure and simple. There you go. Now you know how to solve it. Just kidding. Okay, so this definition suggests that stress is coming from adverse or demanding circumstances. So it's coming from our outside world, right? That's what it's saying. That's what we think. I've got a really demanding job, so I'm stressed out, right? I've got my car just broke down, and that's really stressful. Or high school is so stressful. Or my kids are teenagers. That's so stressful, right? So we think that it's the outside circumstances around us that are making us stress. But what we've learned here on this podcast so far by using Brooke Castillo's model concept is that our thoughts are just stories about what's going on. Our thoughts come from our interpretation of what's going on around us. So if my car broke down, then it's my thoughts about the car breaking down that are going to make me feel stressful. So our thoughts come from our circumstances. They're how we interpret them, and then our thoughts create our feelings. So take the coronavirus, for example. If maybe I'm over 65, and so I'm in that age group that is most worried about this pandemic. Maybe then I'm saying, oh, I'm in that age group. So maybe I'm having thoughts like, I need to be really careful. I need to stay at home more. I need to disinfect things more. I could die. I could get the disease. And if I did, that would be really bad. And maybe I'm not going to be able to survive this. So we think it's the coronavirus that's causing all of these stresses to happen. But in fact, it's all those thoughts that we're having, right? And there could be someone totally different in that exact same age group who thinks, you know what? It's going to be fine. I'm doing it. I'm healthy. I'm strong. This is going to be great. If I die, it's my time to die or whatever. So they're having totally different thoughts. That's creating a totally different emotion for them. And for them, it's not stressful. So the first thing that we need to understand is that stress isn't actually caused by our circumstances. It's caused by the thoughts that we're having. So that first part of the definition is true. It's the mental and emotional strain, but it's not caused by our circumstances. It's caused by the thoughts about our circumstances. Okay? And that is such good news because here's the problem. The reason that stress is a problem is because many of us feel so out of control, right? We think that it's the circumstances. We think that it's our job. We think it's our husband or our wife, our crazy husband or wife. We think that it's how we were raised, whatever it is. We think all of those things, those demanding things, cause us stress. And so we feel like we have no control over that. These are outside circumstances that we cannot control. So the only way for me to stress less is to change everybody else. Okay, and if you think that, then you're going to go around like a crazy person trying to change everyone else. You're going to ask your husband to do things differently. You're going to yell at your kids and you're going to make them clean the house because the house is stressing you out. I don't know anything about that one. And you're going to maybe be angry at your boss for making you have such a terrible situation at work, right? And everything's going to be everyone else's problem. This sounds all fun, right? But it's the worst thing that we can do because that leaves all the control on somebody else. And that means that we can't control our stress. It's just absolutely because of our circumstance. But the good news that I want to tell you today is that it's not actually the stuff around you that's causing you stress. It's your thoughts. And you have 100% control over those thoughts. And since our thoughts create our emotions, we can control strain or stressful thoughts, we can control stressful emotions with our thoughts. So the key here, I know I'm saying a lot of things. I'm trying to just repeat myself over and over so that you can understand this concept. But the key here is that stress is caused by our thoughts. It's mental and emotional strain, right? And that it's not by our circumstances. When we are able to change our thoughts, then we can change stress. We can stop stressing by changing our thoughts, because our thoughts about what's going on is what's causing the problem, and our thoughts control our emotions. They affect our emotions. So it's all about our thoughts, my friends. That's the good news. So the way to stop stressing is to take control. Number one, you're going to take responsibility for your own thoughts. When we can continue to blame other people for what's going on in our lives, and we can blame the car for making us stressed because it broke down. How dare it? We can keep doing that, or we can take responsibility and say, you know what? I know that the car's broken. I'm feeling stressed right now, but it's my thoughts that are causing that stress. And that feels so much more empowering, right? Because instead of feeling out of control, you're feeling in control, right? So you're taking control, you're taking responsibility that you're the one who's causing these things. And there's nothing wrong with that or to judge yourself about if you just know that it's happening, right? Then after you know that you're the one causing those stressful thoughts, you can start to observe them and reprogram your thoughts. So that's step number 2, is to observe them and reprogram them. So that instead of thinking thoughts like I mentioned with the coronavirus, instead of thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to die, this is terrible, what am I going to do? I can't spend time with my family. You can think, maybe it's going to be okay. Maybe I'm going to learn something from this. Maybe I'm going to get stronger. Maybe this is my time to die, or whatever it is that helps you feel less stressed, right? You can observe what's going on inside your head. You can choose to change those thoughts if you want to. And the third part of stop stressing is to feel your emotions, to process your thoughts and your emotions. Because the reason here that it's strain, right? It's mental or emotional strain. The reason that there's strain happening is because it's all bottled up, right? We don't know how to process our emotions in a healthy way. No one's ever really taught you how to process your emotions. In schools, sometimes they kind of do, like they'll say, go hit a pillow or something like that. But in general, we're taught to hold them in. Stop crying. You should be nice to him. Don't yell. Don't throw a fit. If you want to do that, go to your room, or, stuff like that. So we're taught to stop crying. What's wrong with you? You're crying, so something must be wrong with you, right? So we're taught to kind of hold it all in. And if you're not holding it in, if you're having emotion, then there's something wrong, right? So those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about more in detail. But just to recap, stress is the answer because it slows digestion, and that means that no matter what you're eating, no matter how good your diet is, you could still be experiencing digestive pain and weight loss resistance. Number 2, the second thing we went over today is that stress, the definition of stress. Stress is the mental or emotional strain or tension resulting not from the circumstances around us, not from the car breaking down, not from the coronavirus, but from our thoughts about the virus. So the answer, the solution to stop stressing is to, number 1, take responsibility for your own thoughts. Take that control back and say, I'm the one who's creating stress in my own life. And that is a beautiful thing. Number 2 is to start observing and reprogramming those thoughts. And number 3 is to feel or process our thoughts and emotions. So processing our thoughts starts with observation, like I mentioned, feeling our feelings and letting it flow through rather than keeping everything bottled up. So it makes total sense whenever you think about this. If you're not feeling or releasing those emotions, they're getting so stuck and they've got to get out. There's only so many that can hide inside of you. That's why you're yelling at your kids for no reason. That's why one day you're totally freaking out and just crying for absolutely no reason. That's why you've got pain. That's why you've got a weight on your shoulders that is literally causing you to gain weight, right? I have another friend who is literally itching to change her circumstances, right? So these things show up in our physical lives. So again, take control, observe and reprogram your thoughts, and then feel your emotions, process your thoughts and emotions. Those are the 3 things that we're going to go into more detail on this podcast. So buckle up, my friends, and let's go for a ride. I will talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you loved this episode, if it resonated with you, if you know someone who could use it, just click that share button and send it over to your friends. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. What's one thing that's really been weighing you down? Are you ready to kick it to the side? Then join me for a Stress Less call today, where you'll learn the #1 mindset tool that I use to stop stressing and find relief right now. Go to icutthemustard.com/stressless to sign up for that call today.